It is Faith Talk Live. I'm Rick Probst.
I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
And I'm Morgan.
It's that face. We get to see that face again.
I love it.
Sam Collier on Zoom with us and on the radio. What a legend this guy is. You know, I get on the Facebook. I get on, well, I don't get on the Instagram yet, but he's everywhere. I mean, this guy, Sam, how are you?
Don't do this. Listen, I can't believe y'all have the same amount of energy at home as you do in the studio. I mean, this is just insane. Who are y'all?
It's because we're sleeping more. I mean, we're sleeping until like 8 o'clock now and roll out of bed and get up on the front of the camera.
Hey, speak for yourself. Sam Collier and his home studio there. I'm assuming that you, like us, are socially isolated, are you?
Man, it is a ghost town over here. I am at the crib. I've been at home for 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I told somebody the other day, I said, I got about one more week in me, and then I think I might start breaking rules.
Now let me ask you this. Now, is Tony around? Are you two isolated, socially isolated? You leave room for Jesus, you two?
I don't know if we're leaving too much room for. I mean, we always have room for him, but physically, I mean, you know, I'm like, I think we might be worshiping a little bit too much.
You got a baby boom coming in the Collier house.
Right. That's what I'm like. All right. I'm like, hold on now. We got to be careful around this time. I mean, we just, you know, now it's just recreation. Because I mean, what else? But she's in the other room right now on another Zoom call. And so it's, you know, I think we've just now gotten into a rhythm. And I'm feeling this with businesses and organizations and ministries to where I think for the first week or so, everybody was just in a shock. You know, It's like, what are we doing? What's happening? And now I feel like people are now getting into a rhythm of, all right, now what does this look like? What does this mean for us to do this from home? We got to be productive, you know. So I'm finding that more of a rhythm is coming, and so it's been interesting. It's been interesting for sure.
Now, Sam, I think like me, you're kind of an extroverted social person. Is this hard for you to not be able to be out with people and hug on people and be close with them?
You know, what's interesting is, you know, I thought I was an extrovert until I married Tony, and then and then I realized, okay, I'm a little bit of an extrovert, but she is like, that's what an extrovert is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
she's the definition of extrovert.
Oh my! I mean, at the highest level, she's. You know, we've taken personality tests, and you know, they have the, you know, the Myers-Briggs, the you know, all the so on and so forth. And on it, she's every personality test we've taken, she's 100% extrovert.
Wow.
I mean, across the board.
Yeah.
And I'm 70%. And so I said, okay, that makes perfect sense, because I was meeting her like, maybe I'm not an extrovert at all. But compared to like extreme introverts, I'm like, no, I'm an extrovert. So I'm about 70%, which means 30% of the time I need to recharge. So I can, which I'm sure you identify. So I can function, you know, in, you know, with this isolation or by myself for a period of time. But then there's a moment where I go, all right, like I said, I got about one more week in me. And then it's like, help me do something. I got to get out of the house. Something interesting that I've been doing, and Tony has been commenting on it. I have been FaceTiming more people than I ever have in the history of my life. I mean, it's just like, she's like, you're FaceTiming like 6 people a day. I'm like, I know it's because I'm not around people. So the FaceTime makes me feel closer.
Right.
So I'm doing all right, but I got about another week.
And Tony's probably going crazy, right?
Man, yes. I mean, well, she's, you know, at one time we had to have a conversation. I said, okay, look, I know you're going out and, you know, but don't bring COVID back with you. You know, you're going to go. You're going to go. Like, she would have got to, you know, get her hair done. Now it was just her and another friend, but I was like, hey, just, you know, just don't bring it back with you. But I you know, I feel her. I feel her because I'm already antsy. So I know that she's, you know, going through it, but she's been doing well. I mean, we live in an apartment, kind of a townhome-ish apartment kind of spot, and so we can kind of walk around the pool and kind of do that. They've shut off all of the social areas, so you can't go in there. But but we are able to get out and walk around a little bit. She's been every chance she gets, she's running around. So
good.
We're talking to Sam Collier, also looking at him. He's a public speaker and an author, and also all-around Superman. That's how we feel. But anyway, I've noticed that you've hustled a lot of great folks to pray over this time. Tell us about that. What's going on there?
And I will say, every now and then, God will give you these moments, and you try to ride the wave. And this was one of those moments where maybe about a week into this whole COVID situation, I just started noticing that prayer was needed. And I don't want to get too religious, but I think for me, I was walking around the house and I really felt the Lord say, let's come together and let's pray. But I really felt the need across the world, across our nation, to create some sort of a lighthouse of a lighthouse gathering, if you will, of some of the largest names in Christianity, so that people could gather together and find some sense of unity during this time. And honestly, it started with just me wanting to do a conference call. I didn't know it was going to get as big as it got. But it started with me just going, well, maybe I'll just do a conference call and invite 2 or 3 churches, 2 or 3 pastors that doesn't even have to have like massive churches, but, significant amount of members. And we'll just kind of do that. And we'll do a conference call. It'll be 3 of us and whatever. Mm-hmm. And what happened is I called some pastors, and then I was thinking, well, you know what? Maybe I need to add a woman to this. Next thing you know, I'm texting different social influencers and Christian leaders, and they're going, yes. I remember the first person I texted was Danielle Strickland. Don't know if you guys have heard of her, but in the Christian, in the Christian space, she's just, she used to be the face of the Salvation Army nationally and internationally. So she was like their main voice. She's no longer with them, but still, friends and in contact. But when she said yes, I said, uh-oh. Something's getting ready to, something's happening. Once she said yes, I started texting different speakers, and then I hit, MLK's daughter, and next thing I know, a friend of mine, Matt, he hit Samuel Rodriguez, Pastor Samuel Rodriguez, and then it got big. Then I had another friend of mine who he owns maybe 2. Well, if you talk to him, he'll say probably about 10 different Facebook pages that are in the millions. I mean, so collectively, his influence on Facebook is probably 20 million across all of his pages. Wow. And he jumped on, we added him to the prayer, and he jumped on and said, hey, y'all can broadcast from my page. And then it just got crazy. And we had 250,000 people tune in, and it was about 150,000 live on the Facebook. And then now it's jumped to about 250 just on the playback. From that, we had people like Priscilla Shire, who hit us up, who also tuned in. And she said, listen, she said, this is amazing. I said, listen, next time we do it, you got to jump in. And she said, of course. And then pray.com hit me up. And they said, listen, we want to get around this. They own, just at Pray on every social platform. And obviously it's an app. That they've got millions of people all around the world tuning in, and they said we want to be a part of this, and it just got big. And so I think this Saturday, Natalie Grant is joining us, David Crowder is joining us, Danielle Strickland, obviously, Jack Graham, Nona Jones, Samuel Rodriguez is back, Bernice King, and so it's just gotten wild. We are expecting God to just show up in a massive way. We're going for 1 million people live on Saturday.
Wow.
And by the grace of God, hopefully we hit it. But if not, you shoot for the moon and land on the stars. And so it's just, I'm just blown away by what the Lord has done. It was not one of those things you sat down and, planned, but he just, he blew his breath on it, and it became what it is. So
Sam Collier, we're talking to him, samcollier.tv, if you want to follow Sam, and of course be a part of, it's not just one prayer thing. He's doing this prayer thing just pretty continuously. The other day I text Sam, And he asked me, and very rarely do I get asked. It's okay, Sam, but you asked me, is there anything I can pray for you? And
Wow.
I was like, wait a minute, Sam Collier's asking me, and I asked my wife to pinch me. And so, but we really appreciate your heart, Sam. You're a rock star to us, but you've got the heart of a lion. You just love people, and you want them to know Jesus, and you just want them to move forward. Samuel Rodriguez, I was listening to a podcast from him the other day, and he had me so fired up, I had to find a church to go to the altar again. Because, I mean, he
passed his own collection plate. It was so good.
He's really good. So thank you so much for gathering all these people together to pray. And let me say this before I think Dan maybe have another question. I noticed on Facebook that this guy, Sam Collier, is showing up at these parties with Will Smith. The other day I saw him behind Denzel.
Yep.
And I was like, who is that guy with Sam Collier? And my wife said, that's Denzel. I was like, oh, okay.
That's the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air right there with Sam Collier.
And I'm like, my gracious, do they know who they're hanging with?
Yeah.
Denzel and Will Smith?
They don't know.
Sam, how did you get into that predicament?
Man, I'll tell you this. For one, I didn't see Denzel, but Will Smith did happen. And I most of the massive people that I'm able to be around now is directly connected to Martin Luther King's daughter, Dr. Bernice King. Mm-hmm. And so we've been friends, and I would even say family now for the last probably 5 to 6 years. It's been a relationship over 10 years that has just manifested. But I mean, we do Thanksgiving now together. We do Christmas now. Our families are just intertwined. I don't know when that switch happened, but one of these years it switched, and we just started doing life together to the point to where I think, like, even on this COVID-19 break, we've probably spoken every single day. Wow. And it's been a thing to where she, for many years, Dr. Bernice King was my mentor, and she just walked with me, introduced me to her father's legacy and his thoughts and his ethos, and the whole Kingian nonviolence piece. And she really opened a lot of doors for me. I owe a lot of success to her. Mm-hmm. And so maybe about 5 years ago, the pendulum swung, and a lot of the success that she was helping me kind of just garner, it switched to me now going, okay, what are some things that you're doing and how can I help you? And so how I even met Andy Stanley, which I think some people know this story, but that's really my first introduction to Andy, was introducing her to Andy. Mm-hmm. And that's how we kind of all met. And now, she's got some different things coming out, books. She's got some things she wants to plan. At some point we should get her on the show.
Yeah.
Just because she's just, she's in a season now where she's asking the question, what is my legacy? Because for years she's been, working. Obviously she runs the Coretta Scott King estate, but also she's a part owner in her father's estate, Martin Luther King Jr. Her brother is kind of the custodian of it. And for years, and she's CEO of the King Center, for years, she's just been focused on her parents' legacy. But now she's in a season where she's going, what is my legacy? And so I've been trying to do anything I can to open whatever, any doors that I can to help her just kind of solidify that. And so she invited me out to, that annual commemorative service that I hosted this year, but also they have a dinner at the Hyatt down on Peachtree where they bring in the city, kind of the who's who. It's kind of an award ceremony, and they gave Jaden Smith, Will Smith's son, the award for his work that he's doing in Flint, Michigan, with Just Water and just with helping to kind of solve that water crisis. And Will Smith showed up. Can I just take a moment and talk about Will Smith? Listen, I thought I knew what star power was.
Yeah.
Until he showed up. And so I'll tell, because I haven't had a chance to talk about this story, but I'm going to talk about it. they told us, you know, Jaden was coming. And I said to them, I said, I think Will is going to show up. I know he's showing up with me. They said, you think he's, I said, listen, I know he's, and I said, when he shows up, he's going to bring some cameras. Because now everywhere he goes, he brings like cameras for social media and Instagram. You know, he's all over. And so they said, you know, sure enough, Will is coming. And so I'm standing at the bottom of the escalator. And so if you walk into the Hyatt, you walk in and there's an escalator that takes you down. And then there's the the banquet center and so on and so forth. And so it's about an hour before the show begins. And it's maybe about 100 people that are just kind of scattered, but they're way over there, like just 50 people on this side, 50 people on that side. And you're just kind of standing there. I'm standing at the bottom with the PR rep. You know, she runs PR for the King Center. And she says, Will is getting ready to come down with Jaden. I said, what? He said, he's getting ready to come down this escalator right now. I said, okay, no. I said, Will is that? She said, I'm telling you, he's great. So I stood there. She said, he's going to come down, and Jaden, they're on their way. So we're standing there in anticipation. Nobody else knows. And again, it's kind of a ghost town a little bit. So after about an hour, about 500 people showed up and they went in, but it's about 100 people on these sides. And so maybe about a minute goes by, escalator comes down and all you see are cameras. And I said, there he is. And he comes down the escalator. When he gets to the bottom, all I hear is a random woman go, ah! And everybody goes, what? And she goes, Will. And 100 people run over. I mean, it was, and I just, I thought he was floating. I said, I think he is floating across the room. I mean, this was Will Smith. Bernice introduced me to him, and phenomenal introduction. But and when I went up to him, I said to myself, I have a choice. Either I can be in business mode and you just kind of shake his hand, or I can fan.
Yes.
And I don't fan ever. I mean, because I'm always around people. But this was the day. I said, I'm giving myself permission today to fan.
Yeah.
And I went up to him and he said, man, honored to meet you. I said, hero. There aren't too many people that I fan over, but growing up, I mean, watching it, he helped shape me as a man. So it was a surreal moment and just an honor to meet him and to be a part of that.
What a great story. If there is a Men in Black 4, I think probably Sam
Collier's going to be in it. Yeah.
Will be in there. So listen, we're your biggest fans, Sam. We love you to pieces. Thanks for what you do. Really, you're transforming the world for Christ. It's amazing. We'd like to catch up with you in a couple of weeks if we can. Just kind of take the
and Tony, if we can catch her too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're all here, so we got time.
Yeah.
Listen, we appreciate you. Go to samcollier.tv and check him out and what he's doing, and pray with these guys because they are shaking the city, the state, the nation, the planet. Thanks, Sam. Appreciate you.
Love you guys.
Thanks, Sam.
All right, let's do this. Let's take a break. We'll be back. I'm Rick Probst.
I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
And I'm Morgan.
Yes, just Faith Talk Live.